I'm Anthony Browne. I write and illustrate children's picture books, and I'm here at the illustration cupboard. There's an exhibition of my work based around the character Willy. I've done 7 Willy books now. The first one was called Willy the Wimp, and it came out 30 years ago. Willy the Wimp came not long after Gorilla. It came quite quickly. I think it was 2 books later. And I didn't know he was going to be a chimpanzee. I knew it was going to be a kind of gentle character who was kind of called a wimp. Wimp was a very popular term of abuse for kids, particularly in those days. So I knew that it was going to be about this kind of gentle character who worried about stepping on tiny insects every time he went for a walk. He was almost too gentle, almost too caring. So I was drawing this figure walking along. Obviously had clothes on, kind of old-fashioned clothes. And as I drew it, the head turned into a chimpanzee. It wasn't a conscious decision, and that's quite often the case. The book I've just finished, or the book is just being published, Willy's Stories, is actually one of my very favourite of the Willy books. It's a kind of companion piece to Willy's pictures, which is all about the pictures that Willy admires, and I wanted to do the same with the stories. I wanted to make a book about the stories that inspired him, or indeed me, to become a writer and an illustrator. The stories I chose for Willy, or that Willy maybe chose for himself, I'm not quite sure which, were books that I remember very strongly from my own childhood, books or stories. It starts off by Willy going through these doors, these kind of mysterious doors. You don't know what they are. It says every week he goes through these doors, and every week something amazing happens. It starts off one day I went through and found myself on a desert island, and I'd been shipwrecked there, and there was only the ship's dog and a friendly parrot. And he wanders up and down the beach to see if anybody else is on the island, and he can't find anybody. Eventually he stops because he's seen a footprint, a human, well, we don't know whether it's a human, a primate's footprint, shall we say. And he's shocked, and he's wondering, what on earth could this be? So I wanted to stop the story there, asking the child, who do you think it could be? And I like the idea of a child making up what happens next. Or indeed, if they know the original story, of course, it's Man Friday. Willy's Stories is not just a book about stories, it's a book about illustrations as well, because that's what really attracted me to novels in the first place when I was that particular age. So that's why I used a book like Wizard of Oz, which I didn't read as a child. I saw the film as a child, and of course the film is very visual. So that was one of the reasons why I chose books like that, or even Pinocchio, where the monster is coming after Willy. So they all had to have a visual appeal as well as an exciting feel as far as the words concerned. For the last 30-odd years, I've been working in watercolour. So I draw in pencil and then paint it with watercolour. If I make a mistake, because watercolour you can't really change, I'd use gouache just to cover up a mistake. What I found with Willy's Stories, I was so inspired by the N.C. Wyeth paintings in Treasure Island, and I since found out a lot more about the other illustrations he did. He worked in oil paint. And I thought, I want to get that kind of solid feel, that kind of real feel that oil paint gives. By painting them in gouache, all in gouache, because of the solidity, it's given me the kind of look that I wanted. People used to say, is Willy the Wimp you, meaning me? And I always used to deny it and say, of course not, it's not me at all. But of course, over the years, I've come to realise he is kind of like a shadow of myself in some ways. I think we're all rather like Willy the Wimp, actually. I think the confidence that we try to give off, I think most people are not as confident as we think we are, or at least as we pretend to be. I think there's that nervous, anxious creature underneath. Well, this picture is from Willy the Champ, which was the second Willy book I ever made. And it's all about Willy, who doesn't seem to be very good at anything. He tries cycling, he tries swimming, he tries football, but whatever he does, he really tries, but he just can't quite make it. So this is him trying to be a goalkeeper. And in fact, it echoes I used to get in the football team when I was at primary school. I wanted to be a goalkeeper, but of course I was never the most skillful footballer. I get more letters written to me about the Willy books than all my other books put together, letters from children, and one of my favourites was Dear Anthony Browne, is Willy a real person or did you make him up? And I thought that was great, that they didn't think of Willy as a chimpanzee, they thought of him as a person. And another one was relating to the end of Willy the Wimp, where he bangs into a lamppost. Charles said, "Dear Willy, you don't have to be big and strong, just watch where you're going." I thought that was very, very useful advice for all of us.